Hey guys, Internet Dude here. Hey, in this video I just want to give you a full in-depth tour of my 2006 Jaguar XJ-R. I've had this car for a little over 2 years, put on probably 7,000 kilometers or so, which is under 5,000 miles. And I've really enjoyed owning this car, and I think it's time to part with it. So I'll be putting it for sale, either by the time you watch this video or maybe even a little before, we'll see. But I thought I'd take this opportunity just to give you a full tour of the car before I get rid of it. You may have seen my other videos. I had, 8 things I like about my Jaguar XJ-R and 8 things that I don't like. And really, there's a lot more that I like than I don't like on this car. It has that Jaguar look to it. A lot of cars nowadays, you can't tell them apart if you take the badge off. So the XJR model is the kind of performance version of the XJ lineup. So there's the XJ8, there's the XJ Van den Plas. I think the base one was XJ8L or something. There's a little variance between the US and Canadian trim levels. And there's I said Van den Plas, and then they had the XJR, which is the supercharged version, and then they had the Super V8, which is the supercharged version, but the Super V8 has the long wheelbase. So this one would be short wheelbase car, which the long wheelbase just has a little bit longer doors on it, rear doors, for more rear comfort for the rear passengers. You can see the Jaguar license plate. If you search YouTube for Jaguar, you'll see a series that I enjoy, and that's kind of why I named the car Jaguar, was after the series of a V8 older Jag that has a supercharger on it, has a blower. So just give you a walk around. I'll come back around the other side since the lighting's better, but just point out a few things as I walk around. The XJR model gets this nice stainless steel mesh grille. All the XJ8 models get the quad headlamp design, and let's see if I get this right here. So that's the turn signal up there. This is a xenon HID, high intensity discharge bulb. Very good headlights, actually. That's kind of a running light up top there, and that is the high beam headlight. And when you turn the high beams on this car, it is just like daylight. It's just incredible. And then down here we have a fog light, which is a projector fog light. I think it could be HID as well. So it has that wonderful Jag look that I like. Up here we have the leaper. That's what that's called. And it's actually kind of a breakaway style. So if you hit something like a person or an object or an animal, it would kind of break away so it doesn't hurt the person as much. But I definitely like the leaper. So going down below the grille here into the bumper, you can't see it, but right behind that black plastic panel is a radar, because this car has adaptive cruise control. It uses the radar there to keep a safe distance of the vehicle in front of you. It's kind of similar to what the autopilot in my Tesla has. Not exactly the same, but you can set the following distance there. We can see the parking sensors here. I think I pointed them out in the previous video, but there's 4 parking sensors on the front. I like those. I didn't mention this before, but these little knobs here, those are headlight washers. And near as I can figure, when you turn the headlights on, when you turn the wipers on and you spray the spray, every third time that the wipers, you use the spray up on the windshield, these spray down here. So just coming around here, we have the R-type badge emblem there, and that's just a repeater light for the turn signal there. So what I have on this car are the optional 20-inch wheels. It's 255/35 ZR20 tires these ones are Nitto tires. I'm not sure what the factory tires would have been, because these tires are not original to the car. Supposedly these wheels that you're looking at, these are a $4,500 option back in 2006. The car is in the British racing green, which is a quintessential British color, of course. A lot of British cars, especially Jags, have that color. I really like it. The only thing I wish it had some metallic in it. It doesn't have any metallic, but it sure is a nice color. This one body line, of course, I have to show you this body line. It's just a little bit bigger gap right here. I'm not sure why. It's the only body line on the car that isn't pretty much amazing. So yeah, so the car's wonderful green. There's another green called Jaguar Racing Green, and it's basically like this green, but it is metallic. It's also a very nice color. So just continuing around the car, for 2006, they do not have a side molding, but if you have a 2004 or 5, it's actually a side molding that goes along the doors and kind of meets up with that repeater light there on the front fender. Just coming up here, so windshield stuff. There's actually an electric grid inside of the windshield, and I'm gonna see if I can get you in close enough to see this. You may or may not be able to see. No, you won't be able to see that, but there's an electric defrost grid, so you can turn that on to help defrost the windshield in those kinds of conditions where it would frost up. If we look up here, that little eye looking thing is a rain sensor, because the car has rain sensing wipers. I have a dash cam there, nothing too fancy. Then we have the side mirrors. Those are power folding mirrors, which are handy to have. We've got a sunroof here, and it either tilts up or it goes down and underneath the roof, so you can open it up. That's a nice thing to have during the summer. What else? Yeah, okay. Well, I'll show you the key, I guess, real quick, just since we're here. But here's the key. You have lock, unlock, panic, and trunk. And there's the little Jaguar head logo there. And when you push that, the key pops out. It's a really interesting looking key. I haven't seen a key like that before. I know some other brands do that, but I'm not aware of any like American brands that would use something like that. I think VW has something similar. I don't know a lot of different brands, but it's kind of cool. So coming around to the back, the tail lights are LED. We have the XJR emblem here. The car was originally sold out of Saskatoon from Von Wyatt Autosport, and the previous owner that I got the car from, he bought it from there as well. So we have LED taillights here. Down here we have a rear fog light, which you can turn on or off. It's mandatory in Europe, optional, I guess, in North America. Or, well, I guess that's probably standard on this car, but you don't see rear running lights really too much in North America. And then we have turn signal here, it's incandescent, and the reverse light, which is also incandescent. Coming down here, we have parking sensors again for the rear. Then we have dual stainless steel exhaust tips. They look pretty good. Come back here, you can see them a bit. And then this is kind of cool. The other models, other than the XJ-R, this piece here is chrome all the way across here, and it says Jaguar, J-A-G, and the U is the Jaguar head logo, U-A-R, and this is actually the button to get into the trunk. You can just push that, and you heard the motor, and then you can open the trunk. So I'll close it and just listen. You'll hear that it's power assisted trunk. So it dropped, and then you could hear it kind of get sucked down. It's a very nice size trunk. I'll show you that in a minute. So then in the back here, we've got the third level brake light up there, standard defrost grid, and there's a couple of small subwoofers there. I don't know their exact size just offhand. Oh, something I forgot to mention is that all the glass on the car is acoustic glass. So in the case of even the side windows, they use a a double layer of glass with a piece of plastic in the middle. And I showed that on one of my other videos, but that just really helps cut down on noise, road noise. The windshield is acoustic glass, the side windows are, and the rear window. So you get a really quiet ride when you're cruising around in this. So let's pop the hood real quick here and take a look. The release for the hood is right in the center, and you just push it rearward and then lift up. The hood has two gas assist struts there, shocks. There's the pad underneath the hood to help with sound deadening. So if you saw my other video, I did show under the hood and it was dirty, and so I gave it a bit of a wash under here so it looks a little better for presentation purposes. I'm not really sure what you want to know under here, but what this car has, the XJR, has a supercharged V8. And so this car is a 2006, and in 2006 they introduced variable valve timing for this engine. And you'll see there's the connector for the solenoid. Now, so for 2006 the car got a power bump, and so it makes 400 horsepower, and it's an absolute blast to drive. Previous to 2006, without the variable valve timing, this engine only had 390 horsepower. So the XJR and the Super V8 received that supercharger, whereas the lower trim cars did not get the supercharger, but they got the same 4.2 liter V8 engine. It just made maybe 80 to 100 less horsepower. I don't know the exact spec. I could probably put it up on the screen here. But yeah, so we have, this would be the air controller for the air suspension, which I forgot to mention. That's just an access panel to change the cabin air filter in there. This is the overflow reservoir for the cooling system, pressure cap. This is something that I added. It's called a Caldoofy intake. It's just a shiny chrome tube with a couple of rubber connectors on each end in place of the stock plastic piece. This would be the air intake. So it goes in here, goes down into the air box. This is where the air filter is, the mass airflow sensor. That's your power steering reservoir. So that's the main intake for the supercharger. The supercharger resides underneath there. Probably would be really hard to see, but that's the intercoolers. Well, that's the exchange units for the intercooler. Jaguar takes, if I remember right, yeah, 5W30. No, you can't quite see that. 5W30, they recommend Castrol. I'm thinking they have some kind of partnership with Castrol. Come over here. This access panel is just to check the brake fluid. That one is obviously for washer fluid. It's blue and has the washer fluid symbol. They really don't want you touching stuff under the hood as a Jaguar owner. Here's the emissions control label, in case somebody's curious about that. So this would be the top of the air strut, I guess you'd call it, air shock. There's the electrical connector and there's the air line. So each of the shocks has that. All right, I'll just close this up. So yeah, I forgot to mention, but the car has air suspension, and I really like the air suspension. It's adaptive. It uses, I think it's called CATS or something. Oh, the name slips my mind, but they had a name for it, which the air suspension is a bit adaptive. So if you're turning, you're making some hard turns, it'll help ensure the car stays more level in those turns. All right, so let's go take a look at the trunk. Okay, so inside the trunk, which is a very nice size, what I have here are the wool mats for the rear passengers and the stock carpet mats for the front row. You can see in here, it uses a gray material no matter what color your interior is. There's the navigation system DVD over there. There's another holder here. I'm not exactly sure what you put there. If we come over to the other side, there's a handle and a compartment over here. If you open that up, you'll see there's the navigation DVD spot there on the top, and then a CD changer here below. and it uses a magazine, I guess you'd call it a magazine style setup there, and that tucks away behind there. Up on the top, we'll just go over this real quick, but there is the emergency release handle in case somebody's trapped in here. You got a light, and you got a nice grab handle here to close it. So underneath here at the bottom, you just grab this, it lifts up, and when you pull that, it lifts this whole thing up. So you just hook it on there like that, and then that holds that up. And then down here we've got the spare tire well. So this one's a temporary use spare tire. I believe a full-size spare was an option. And then back there we have our jack stuff. This must just be kind of a tow eyelet. Then here we have the battery, which is a rather large battery. It's 820 cold cranking amps, so it'll get the job done. It's good to see, you know, like a car maker like Jaguar doesn't cheap out. And there is a lot of electronics on this car. There's some miscellaneous wiring. I don't even know what that's for. Here we've got a fuse box. That's just some extra lug nuts or something. There's some modules, not really sure what they're for. And then there's another module over there. Doesn't really matter what it's for, I suppose. So that's the trunk. All right, one thing I forgot to mention earlier when I did the walk around, I should have mentioned this, but the entire body is made out of aluminum. It was another thing I really like about this car. So many cars, because they're made of steel, you're going to see rust over time, especially on the rear wheel well, the dog leg area here as it's called, the bottom edge of the doors. Like that is just so common on steel cars to see rust there. So this car is going to look great for many years to come. Let's take a look in here. So we'll just start with the door panel. We have, I think the interior color is champagne on this car. We have that beautiful wood trim. It's burl walnut. We've got a speaker, tweeter hiding in there. We've got another speaker down there. It's an Alpine audio system. Here's your controls for the windows and the power mirror, and there's the window lockout switch. There's a little button here and that at the top that lets you fold in the mirrors. Push that so you can manually fold, and nice chrome door handle there. 3-position memory setting. Really good, generous size door pocket. You can fit a bottle of water and some other stuff in there. Down here we've got the nice sill plate. You can just tell everything in this car is just such great quality, great craftsmanship. This car, I figured it was 85 grand new. Like, to buy one of these used in this kind of excellent shape, it's just such a good value. So we have the leather seating surface. The Jaguar XJ-R model's got this little R. See if you can see that, the R embossed into the leather. And on this car, it has the power adjustable seat. So you've got front back here for the entire seat. You got the seat back, forward and back. This adjusts the, I'll show you, the bottom cushion makes it go out or in. And then this is for the lumbar, the power lumbar that's back there. So down there you have your hood release. Got a little storage cubby there. Here's a few settings for the rear fog light and the front fog light and the interior lamps dimmer. You got a valet button. You can pop the gas door. The button on the bottom down here is for your collision assist. Like if you're approaching a vehicle, it uses that radar out front to beep at you and warn you if you're going to hit something. And then a trunk release there. So there's a bunch of buttons there. Then on the side of the steering column, you can adjust, you have power adjustable pedals. They move in and out. Really generous size brake pedal. and then power adjustable column as well. You can go in and out and up and down with the column. All right, and since I'm down here right now, I'll just pan up here so you can see. Here's the visors, the sunroof, the headliner. That little doohickey there. There's a few of them mounted around the cabin, and they're just proximity sensors to see if somebody's sitting and kind of where they're sitting. I'll hop in now. Take a look. So up here we've got a sunglass holder. Put sunglasses in there. Mine are too big to fit in there though. This isn't the original one to the car. I purchased this one because it had kind of the burl wood finish out of a Jag, but it isn't a perfect match to the dash. Then we've got the button for the rear sunshade, goes up and down. You can turn the parking sensors on off. This is for the power sunroof. Home link, garage door openers. This is the light, the switch to turn on all the interior lights. This turns on the left map light or the right map light. And then this thing back here is the microphone for the audio system. We've got grab handles all the way around for everybody. Even the driver can hang on. Behind the visor, we've got pretty standard stuff here. Got the lighted mirror. All right, so we'll come down now and just take a look at the steering wheel. We've got that nice Jag head logo there. We've got this is push to, I guess you can do voice commands, volume up, down. We've got select, not really sure. I think this is like to switch AM, FM, that kind of thing on the radio. We have resume. These are all cruise buttons here. Set, plus, minus, cancel, resume, cruise. In behind here, if you can see that, it's kind of hard to make out here. We got some glare, but basically this lets you adjust your following distance, closer or further away when you're using the cruise. That's what those are for. Come over to the other side. There are a couple of buttons over here. Lets you change the track, or change the radio station, that kind of thing there. Over on that stock, we have variable the headlight auto headlamps. You can adjust the trip meter. That's of course your turn signals. And over here we've got the wipers. As I mentioned earlier, there's no setting for the headlight washers. They just come on every third time you use the wipers. And I'll just put the key in the ignition here, turn it on just so you can see the gauges. So if you look here, so this car has 85,428 kilometers on it, which is kind of low for 2006, and now it's 2018, so that's a 12-year-old car. So we have the tachometer, and it says supercharged on it. We have a 280 kilometer per hour speedometer, and then over there we have fuel level and engine temperature. We've got that wonderful burl wood. We've got the steering wheel. Yeah, that beeping is my dash cam. Starting up, and so we get I really like this. It's a heated steering wheel, leather and wood. I like leather and wood. And so we have that burl finish on the dash. We have a nice analog clock there in the middle. Over here we've got Glovebox. I'm not even sure what's in there. Oh, I actually have, that's like the 4 CDs I own or whatever, and that's the owner's manual in there. Good size Glovebox. There's the passenger door panel. Oh, it's nice. There's an ashtray hidden away there. Let me open that ashtray for you. There we go. All the passengers pretty much have their own ashtray. I mean, if you need an ashtray, you got one. On the back door, each back door there's an ashtray, and then over there's an ashtray. And then there's one more over here. So we got 4, which is fantastic. You know, if you're a smoker, you'll have no problems finding an ashtray in this car. So there's the ashtray there. I just have my dash cam wired up to that port. So yeah, so on to the center area here. We've got heated seat buttons, left and right. This is the door lock button. This is your hazard lights, and this is an automatic speed control. I haven't actually used that, but it has something to do with the adaptive cruise control, I think. So in here you can control your audio. I'm not going to push the button because YouTube copyright issues with the song. You can push that. I don't think my phone pairs with it. I think my phone's too new, but back in the day you could have hooked up your StarTAC, Motorola StarTAC. That was a popular phone. You could hook that up and make calls through the system. Climate control, touchscreen. You also have the climate control buttons down here. Warmer, cooler kind of thing, fan control. And over here we have the nav button. It takes you into a terrible outdated nav. If you look at my video, 8 things that I don't like about my Jaguar, you'll see that. I won't go through it all again. And then the menu button lets you control some things there. There's a rear multimedia thing I'll show you in a minute. Recirc button. Yeah, so this button here, which says Defrost, and this one's like a, okay, that's kind of like a grid line. When you push this button, that's what activates that grid in the front windshield to remove frost. This is regular defrost, and a rear defogger of course. Automatic memory. This is your stereo now here at the bottom. Volume and power knob, mode. You can also load CDs up in here. Instead of in the trunk, you could do it both ways, AM, FM, CD, and then CD changer. You take your pick. Down here we have the J-gate shifter. That was a Jag thing that was going on for many years. So this car has actually a 6-speed ZF transmission. I believe it was also used in some BMWs. Probably like Land Rover and some other models as well, but it's actually a really good transmission. I use this button, which is S, is sport mode, and it gives it fantastic shifting. It definitely handles the transmission. It's almost hard to describe, but it's just so much better than a typical car's transmission. Because vehicles I've owned in the past, if you're flooring it and it's about to make a shift and you let off the gas, it's going to make that shift, even though the engine's now spinning down, like dropping an RPM. Whereas with this, it won't shift unless you're still at that same, point with the accelerator. Like when you're driving it in a spirited manner, this is just really, really awesome. And then that's your traction control button. We have a electronic park brake here. You can pull up to set it and push down to turn it off. The center console here is pretty cool. You can just lift this hand a little bit and slide it back, and it unveils 2 cup holders here. Or you can just open it. You can just go like that and open it too. And then you have your storage in here, and it's, pretty decent amount of storage in there. That's pretty well it for the front seat. I'll just show you the back now. All right, so in the back we've got similar door panel. You got the speaker at the bottom. You got the tweeter hidden in where the door handle is. You got that fantastic ashtray. Burl walnut again. I don't have the fancy wool floor mats in the back right now. I have them in the front, but we've got the leather seating back here. It's nice that there's a pocket here. Let me step in. There's a pocket here for the rear seat passengers to put stuff. My Tesla doesn't have that. You've each got your own air duct here in the back. Got a lighter here. It's important for some people. We've got a power port over there. And you've got heated seats back here as well, which is nice. So if we come back here, this is a nice feature over here. You can pull down in the center. There's just an armrest, which you can open up. You can open up the back, and you got a couple of not very good cup holders. Honestly, they should be a little bigger. And then you got a little bit of storage here as well. But that's not the cool thing about riding back here. It's what's on the front here. Let's open this bad boy up. Look at that. You can control the stereo from the back. So if you're a Jag owner and you're being driven around, you can be controlling the audio system. You could be talking on the phone, you could pick a radio station. There's also some inputs here. This car does not have the rear headrest LCD system or the trays like airplanes kind of have and fancy cars have. If you had the long wheelbase model, you would have those picnic tables. That's what they're called. But this is short wheelbase model, just a few inches shorter, but you don't get that. But yeah, this is pretty cool. You could plug in a, well, it says TV store, so whatever. I guess you could somehow hook up a TV through those inputs and put the audio through the system in here. But it's kind of cool. That's really not needed in today's terms. Like, you fast forward to 2018 and people in the back seat, what do they have? They got their mobile with them. So here's a better look at the dash. I'll show you those front wool mats here real quick. So here's those wool mats. These were an option. Now, I got these off of eBay. They were legit Jaguar. Oh, these are so plush. Like, you should just take your shoes and socks off when you get in and just feel that. That's real cool. Anyway, one more thing I guess I should do before I wrap it up here is just start the car, let you hear it. There's probably some people that might be interested in that, so let me put the key in and turn it on. All right, so it's pretty quiet. I'll get you back here. You hear the exhaust at idle. Here, I'll set it up so you can listen to the exhaust. I'll just rev it a bit. I'll see if you can also hear the supercharger whine a little bit. I added that Caldoofy intake that I mentioned, and that lets you hear the supercharger whine just a little more, a little better. Well, that's my 2006 Jaguar XJ-R. What do you think? I really liked owning this car for 2 years. It's got a lot of attention, but I think it's time to let it go. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know in a comment below what you liked or what you didn't like, or if you have any other questions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I like the car. If you get the chance to buy a car like this or drive it for a while, take that opportunity, because this is a car where it's not super high tech and it still has that style. Yeah, it's just so well built. You know, if I could keep a lot of cars, this is probably one that I would keep in the stable for a long time, because it really is a unique car. Turns a lot of heads. It's a lot of fun to drive, but I think it's got to go. I got too many cars. Turning into that guy, Hoovie's Garage, I think. I just got too much stuff. But anyway, like I say, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.